Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes. This day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Well, oh, and this is a really wide angle. Let me see if I can bring that in. And JJ says I'm never on time. You can tell I pretty much just walked in the door from work, which is why I still have my work clothes on. Wearing a suit for the show. Oh no, it's a bit formal. Bunchy is just like, what the hell? But I did, and hello, Justin. I did just walk in from work, and I didn't bother to get changed, though. I don't need the suit jacket on, but I still got my fancy top on. But I'm gonna be a little cold, and I never buttoned my sleeves this morning. I was running late. I just threw on the jacket. So let's get casual and roll up these sleeves. Okay, everyone. Shit, I forgot to bring down Sean's book. Sean Dempsey, please forgive me. I had your book right there on my desk to bring down, and I wanted to promote it. And I think I'm going to do that anyway. Let me see if I can pull it up on Amazon, because I had promised him I would today. And of course, I'll be talking about it quite a bit. As you know, I'd already been promoting the hell out of The Tale of Two Brothers. He said I love the illustrations in it, and his new book has the same adorable illustrations. But let me see if I can find it on Amazon. And here we go. Okay, I'm just going to pull up the screen here. We're going to talk about it, but then I'll have the book down here next time. This'll learn me. Okay, here we go. On Amazon, Ava in the Storm is his newest book. I wish I had it down here. It has the most adorable illustrations in it. So if you don't know, Sean Dempsey is a children's book writer who does freedom-themed children's books. So there is like a chapter at the end of this book for the parents. But, you know, it's about the foolish mandates of last year. It's a really cute story about trusting the science and what some fictional islanders did superstitiously to keep hurricanes from hitting their island. It's a totally cute story. If you have a young person in your life and you'd like an illustrated book, perhaps to read to them or to let them look through the pictures and learn a Liberty lesson, right here on Amazon, Ava in the Storm, by our very own Sean Dempsey of New Hampshire. I want to see if any of the pictures, hold on, I want to take down this widget for a second. I want to see if Amazon put any of the pictures up here, because they really are adorable. They don't have any, like, a lot. Oh, yeah, I mean, you could see some of them here. It's a lot like A Tale of Two Brothers. And I just super enjoy the illustrations, and it's dedicated to his daughter. So support a loving father, and again, if you have a young person in your life, please consider that if you're looking for a gift. Okay, I will have the book down here next time. And thank you, Ronwell. Let me put my chat back up on the screen. Ronwell had said, I'm going to stick this up on the screen. Joined LP National and state affiliate, so you could become a national delegate. Look forward to seeing you there. Okay, one last grifting before we get started. Along the bottom is my Patreon, and Roman, if you are watching, I did add your name to my closing credit screens. Roman became a very generous sponsor of the show. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider becoming a Patreon. And if it's patron, not a Patreon, you become a patron at Patreon, but you don't become a patron. At least I don't think so. I think it's patron. But in any event, my top patrons do get to have their product promoted. But obviously, I'm not going to promote something that I think is shit. And I do enjoy Sean's books. Sean first approached me at PorkFest, and before I agreed, I said, well, I'd like to read your book first, and then he sent it to me, and I just thought it was so cute. Okay, so patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. I hope to get some new merch as well, but I've been so busy with my town council campaign. But now I know what everyone's waiting for. I thought this was going to be a fairly boring show today, but we had an interesting development last night that I am only going to cover briefly because I can't talk about it so much. And I would hope that people understand why I can't talk about it so much. So a lot of you have noticed, or if you didn't notice the incident itself, you certainly noticed the social media memeage and comments. And there was one meme, actually, that was super hilarious. Most of the memes are pretty dumb, but one of them is pretty good. I should have downloaded it. But it was, the I'm the captain now one. But the LP National Twitter got hacked in the early morning hours of last night. And it has another identity there of a person who sells NFTs. This person is not that person. So what I'm trying to say is a hacker is using the LP National Twitter account in order to impersonate somebody else who sells products, and they have spoof pages up for the products, and they're scamming this guy's customers. So there are two victims here, LP National and the person whose alleged identity is using the account. Please do not go and send that person hate. It is not really him. Not that I think his reaction has been necessarily the greatest, but he is a fellow victim here. And his followers, customers, are getting scammed. And that's like super double uncool. But that's the background, which everyone knows. I don't know a great deal about what happened because I am not involved in national social media. I'm very busy with other things. But I can tell you I have confirmed, and I don't believe anyone's lying to me, and I am super frustrated with some of the social media response, but it's to be expected. Don't say you should have enabled two-factor authentication. It was. Whatever happened to the account, which we don't know yet, was not because of sloppy handling by volunteers or staff. Our security was good. You can believe that or not. Honestly, at this point, I don't care. I really don't. Those are the facts. And if you choose not to believe them, then I think you have another agenda. We don't know how it got hacked yet. But it isn't because derpity derp somebody made taxation is theft the password and shared it with 15 people. No. I can tell you even, and anyone who's been involved even with just CRM access, you know that even with that, Andy Burns insists on using the Google Authenticator app. Again, I'm not involved with social media. I don't know all of the steps. All I know is that I've been told, and I believe it, and I've been assured that it is a pain in the ass to log into this site, that you've got to jump through a million hoops. And I believe it because that's the case with our actual website. When I have to upload minutes and things, I have to jump through a million hoops. Yes, the password isn't taxation is theft. It's a long-ass, unguessable, complicated password with the maximum security. We do not know yet how they hacked into it. And Justin is right. Again, I'm speaking just from what I'm told, but I don't believe anyone's lying to me. I think there is a much bigger issue at play here. What it is, I don't know. But it is not derpity derp. You should have had security on the account. We did. So yes, we're taking this really, really seriously. And because it looks like there's something much bigger involved, that's why I can't talk about it anymore. I know a little bit more that I can't say, and I'm not going to. But it is frustrating, and my frustration is not with you at all, Justin, if you took it that way. It's just with some randos, and you're not a rando. On the internet, we just keep insisting we didn't have proper security. From what I know, yes, we did. So, as I said to somebody in the LNC membership connection group, join that group if you're not. It's mostly non-toxic discussions. There are only two options here. A, you think the staff are complete idiots who aren't doing anything about this. Or B, you think they're not complete idiots and they have it handled and we really don't need 100 comments on how to handle it. That they are handling it, and if handling it becomes, if it becomes necessary to hire experts or consultants to handle this, they will do that. We don't need every Tom, Dick, and Harry on social media to be repeating the same things as if we're too idiotic to figure that out. It's just super, super frustrating at this point. It wasn't because of sloppiness. Now, if you would like to still believe it was because of sloppiness, and I'm not talking to anyone in chat, I'm speaking out to the ether, to the wider audience, I think that means you just have an agenda that you're looking to criticize. And that's fine if you want to do that, but admit it, because I'm telling you that's not true. And if you hear this and then continue to go on and repeat it, that says something about you. It doesn't say something about the national social media. And those of you, and again, not speaking to anyone on my chat, who are like rejoicing over something like this happening, fuck off. You're a terrible person who doesn't want what's best for this party. Honestly, I don't want anything to do with you. If you are the type of person, because you happen to not like a current LNC, that you're happy to see an asset get hacked, go away. Honestly, as I've said before, I, of all people, had a reason to hate the last LNC, but I never turned on the party. I never rejoiced when bad things happen to the party, because they do happen. Because that means I'm not in it for the party. I'm not in it for freedom. I'm in it because I've got some kind of personality defect that likes seeing other people fail in order to make me look better. I've never been that way. And honestly, anyone with that attitude, the party is better off without you. And I am saying that perfectly honestly. We are in too big of a battle with the state to have people like that on the battlefield with us. Because no matter what happens in 2 years, I might hate the LNC again. Who the heck knows? But I will still be on the battlefield fighting for the party, because I know the leadership is not the party. I never hated to see anything happen that would hurt the party that thousands of people have poured 50 years into and a lot of money into, no matter what my feeling is about the current leadership. And if you have that kind of attitude, there's something wrong with you. There's a character defect. If you're on my friends list, please unfriend. I'll find you and do it myself, because I want nothing to do with people like you. And honestly, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you, because we need people here who are in it, no matter if they don't like a particular state chair, they don't like a particular LNC. We can't afford friendly fire. And yes, that means sometimes that you're not going to like what the National Party tweets out. Guess what? I spent 4 years hating what the National Party tweeted out. It happens. That's called politics. But I am tired of coddling these kinds of attitudes, because I've been there. I was screwed royally by the last LNC, and I still got my ass out on the trail and fundraised for this party, supported this party, and when the LNC managed to do something good, I promoted it, because I was in it for liberty and not in it for my own ego. We don't have room for that. This is probably some harsh medicine that I'm saying here, but this is how I feel. And anyone who doesn't like that, I don't care. At this point, I'm done caring. Time for a mimosa. So, about the hack. We're working on it. We are very, very hopeful that we're straightening this out with Twitter. Because again, there are 2 victims here. And I do feel very bad for the customers of the person being impersonated as well, because they certainly didn't ask for this either. It really isn't a laughing matter to those people. It's fraud. They're losing money. And that's absolutely nothing to be happy about. But, people I see acting like that, you're getting cut out of my life. I don't got time for that. I need soldiers. And I have plenty of friends who aren't fans of the Mises Caucus, that aren't fans of the current LNC, but they are fucking soldiers for liberty. Because agreement isn't necessary. But internal sabotage, well, I've got no time for that. And Justin, I'm not an NFT fan, but if that's what people want to spend their money on, that's, they have the right to, not be defrauded. Suckers have rights too. So yeah, I'm in some groups that I'm in a lot of groups, not always because I agree with a group, but because I like to share LNC news. volunteer opportunities, meetings, or whatever. And I have to tell you, there is some true nastiness going on. Now, there is always going to be nastiness in insular groups. It's going to happen in all of them. Obviously, it happens in the Mises Caucus. But I've been in internal Mises Caucus groups, and some of you people with these groups that I've observed that all you do is talk shit. If you think that's what goes on in internal Mises Caucus groups, you are sadly mistaken. There'll be a shit post every once in a while. That's human nature. But my God, what I've seen lately, and I'm not going to mention any names here because the people I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about. You know I'm talking about you. Really, you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself because it's not right. It's not right. And I would be calling out any other group of people I'm in that are acting like that. You guys are acting like big, big babies. So, there was something else. That's on the Twitter thing. But yeah, I'm deeply concerned about it as well. Not minimizing what happened. And if I do find out, and I'm not under any kind of like ethical obligation not to tell you guys that, oops, somebody did just fuck up and leave a password or whatever, I'll let you know. You know, I don't play the circle the wagons thing. I just don't. I believe when there's fault, you own up to it, but that also means you give credit where credit is due. And all the information I have right now is that our security was good. This wasn't something on our end. If I find out otherwise, I'm not going to be happy because I don't like not getting true information, but I am absolutely confident I am getting correct information. So, that's the latest story on the Twitter. Ronwell said, you have a question? Yeah, and Trish, one reason I don't call out names, because a lot of the criticisms I give are universal. While they might apply to a particular group or a particular person, like at this moment in time, there's a principle that will apply 2 years from now to somebody entirely different. I don't think it's necessary. Now, that rule's not hard and fast. There have been times I called out names. But I don't more than I do. Because I don't think it's necessary. I don't really want to make it about people. I want to make it about actions and really ask people to consider what they're doing. And also, and I know people will say this right back at me. And you want to know what? I am always doing introspection. Consider who you're surrounding yourself with. You might be in a group where you're not the person entirely saying something nasty, but you're silent while it's going on around you. I'm not going to tell you that you have some kind of social obligation to call other people out, but just examine your own conscience. Because one thing I was known for in the Mises Caucus was when things got unfair about Nick Sarwark, and I am going to mention a name now because I'm saying something good. I tend to mention names when I'm defending somebody. I defended him when I thought things got out of line. So, those of you who are on other groups, I'm asking you to examine your conscience. Look at who you're surrounding yourself with, because there's a few apples can spoil the bunch. And when things get out of line, maybe say something. Again, you don't have any kind of positive obligation to do that. I don't believe in positive rights. But I think that's what people of integrity do. So, again, without mentioning names, if you... What's that song? Well, you probably think this song is about you. If you think this song is about you, it probably is. Okay, next up. Yes, Justin and I did do a whole ass show. I do call out some people once in a while, but you want to know something? When I do call out somebody, it tends to be a leader. I don't like specifically calling out rank and file members. I'll call out state chairs. I'll call out national chairs. I'll call out LNC members, who I very rarely will call out, though I'm not perfect, and sometimes it is deserved, but I very rarely will not call out somebody who hasn't placed themselves. I did a double negative there and made it the opposite. I very rarely will call out somebody who's not in the party a fair game public figure, which is why I don't get all ass mad when people call me out. I'm a public figure. I'm fair game. I could have chosen not to run for an LNC position. LNC members are fair games. State chairs are fair game. That's just the nature of the business. So Ronwell asked, yeah, it's possible. Just because you have a friend and just because they're the member of a Mises caucus doesn't mean they can't do something wrong. You should. If your friend does something wrong, if you consider them your friend, I think you actually have an obligation to confront them on that. That's what friends do. Most people here know that I'm a Christian. I make no bones about it. And there's a proverb, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens the countenance of another. And faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Okay, next up, New Mexico. So we did the most exciting thing, though, on the Twitter thing. So New Mexico, and once again, I'm not mentioning names, and I'll tell you why I'm not mentioning names. You'll also know. Yes, we're getting on to New Mexico, Trish. There's something you'll notice. There was a prior, before New Mexico was disaffiliated, there was a prior petition for affiliation that got withdrawn. And you'll notice something I didn't do. I didn't say who submitted the petition until that person chose to make it public. I think members that are working behind the scenes, until they make a public announcement, I protect members' privacy. They outed themselves and other people talked about it. I never said the names of the people who submitted a petition in Virginia, which, again, was out of order because we have a Virginia affiliate, but I never mentioned who submitted that petition. I haven't to this day. And same thing with New Mexico. There's not even a petition yet, but I'm not mentioning who it is that asked me about the steps to affiliation. They'll make it public when they want to make it public. That's just the way I treat members. And no, a petition is not valid if there's an existing affiliate. And that's what the people were told that submitted the Virginia one. They were told that we have an affiliate in Virginia, but they're welcome to resubmit it at whatever point we don't have an affiliate in Virginia. So that's why I'm not mentioning names. I'm sure it will be public soon enough. Members who ask me for advice on procedure and things like that, unless they give me consent, I generally don't publicly talk about their business because they might change their mind. But I did get their consent that if members are interested in joining their effort, because remember, I'm the one who got that policy manual change passed, that I don't want any caucus, any other insular group to have sole province over starting a new affiliate. It needs to be open to all National Party members in the state. So I do have the consent that write me if you're interested in assisting. If you support the goal of starting a New Mexico affiliate, email me at secretary@lp.org and I will forward your contact information to the organizers and ask them to get in touch with you. I'm expecting that a organizing convention will be called in October. That's not written in stone because, again, they haven't set a date. This is their baby, I'm helping them with parliamentary things. I'm taking a look at proposed bylaws, but it's their thing. And I've made that pretty clear. My interest is an interest as an LNC member and having a functional affiliate in New Mexico that is formed fairly to National Party members in that state. JJ asks if Lucchini can still appeal. Yes. I think you'd have a very tough road to hoe because he's claiming he disaffiliated. I think it'd be kind of hard. Right, Tyler said it. Like, that'd be kind of weird to appeal when your claim, whatever. He has appeal rights, though. Whether or not it would be a silly appeal is another matter. He has appeal rights until October 11th. I don't anticipate that any organizing convention in New Mexico would take place until later in October, and I don't anticipate Mr. Lucchini is going to appeal. But I'm glad you brought up Lucchini, because this brings up something else where I am going to I'm not going to mention names, but I'm going to call out some other people that honestly, if you've done something like this, I will not be sad to see you leave the party. If you went and talked to a trash magazine or trash publication like the Daily Beast to gossip about libertarians, you're a shitheel and you should get the fuck out. I got approached by publications hostile to the LP back when what happened to me happened to me. And I declined those interviews because my goal was never to harm the party. I declined. Anyone who would do that, there was one last person that was someone who went running to the Daily Beast that was a friend. No longer. You're not a trustworthy person of integrity if you would do something like that. Again, I am speaking from the voice of experience because I had the opportunity multiple times to get very negative national attention to the LP for what they did to me. And I chose who I spoke to very, very carefully. And you wouldn't have seen me going to any complete enemy of the LP. So, those of you who run to the Southern Poverty Law Center or the Daily Beast or, Salon, I'm trying to think of some other just complete enemies of any kind of freedom message. I hope you enjoy your 15 minutes of fame, and I hope you are forever a persona non grata in the LP, because that is just opportunistic, gross behavior. Time for some more mimosa. Alrighty. So, was there anything else with New Mexico? Anyone have any other questions with New Mexico? I think I covered everything I wanted to. It's not complex yet. But I say yet because libertarians make everything complex. By the way, though, speaking of that shitty Daily Beast article, I think I am going to do a show on it. It is good show fodder. So I might do a show on it. But I don't know. I've got some Candace Owens critiques that I want to do. That woman's been driving me crazy. I don't know whether it's just a personality clash, but I don't like her. And yeah, God forgive me. I don't like her. But there's some content that she's put out lately that I think has been extremely annoying that I want to do a show a show on it. Justin, Mark is a Wisconsin member. He doesn't live in New Mexico. He lives in Wisconsin, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I need to watch that Joe Rogan show, because I don't like disliking people, particularly people I don't even know. Like, it just feels weird to, like, dislike somebody that I've never even met, you know? But she just really, really rubs me the wrong way. And that doesn't happen very often. Like, there's like some even like like commies that I watch on YouTube that I like. I don't know why it is that Candace Owens just rubs me so badly the wrong way, but we'll go over that. So she's had some cringe content that I'd like to cover. I think I found that cringe show. Remember, I thought it was Jesse Waters. I don't think it was Jesse Waters. Who's that other guy who is it called The Five? It's on Fox. Gutfeld. I don't know how you pronounce his name. I think it was him and not Jesse Waters. I thought it was Jesse Waters that made a real cringe statement about the homeless. So that might be tomorrow. But again, I'm really heavy on the campaign trail. So it doesn't look like there's any other New Mexico. Greg Gutfeld, that's it. When I was saving those YouTube videos, God, anybody who was watching my playlist probably is like, what the hell? I thought I was saving it to watch later, you know, because that's my playlist for content I want to go over. But instead, it was saving it to my playlist called Libertarian Party. And if anyone was following that playlist, all of a sudden there was like a bunch of Candace Owens shit on there. And they'd be like, what the hell? Or roller coaster disasters. I watch disaster shows. That's my guilty pleasure. Yes, I also watch a lot of true crime. I watch all the amusement park disasters. And as someone who's so terrified of flying, this probably isn't healthy, but I watch all the airplane disasters. So I was saving these shows, and they were all getting saved to the Libertarian Party playlist. So if anyone was following my LP playlist, I'm sorry. Okay, so what else is going on? I think those are the major things. We do have an LNC meeting on Sunday. I hope our Twitter is straightened out by then. Yeah, that's... I mean, worst comes to worst, we start a new Twitter. I mean, I hope that doesn't happen. We had like 300,000 followers or something on there, but it's not the end of the world. So, October 2nd, 8 Eastern, we have an LNC meeting. There's not that much on the agenda. I believe I talked about this last week, but I know you're going to be shocked. Okay, stop a minute. If you are wearing pearls, please clutch them, because I'm going to tell you something shocking. I got to have a drink before I share this news with you. There's something that's pretty non-controversial that's on the agenda that you're not going to believe this. Libertarians are making a big deal over and creating conspiracy theories and controversy where none exist. I know it's unbelievable because libertarians never do that. Libertarians never make a mountain out of a nothing burger. They never do that, but they are. So let's talk about it. And of course, none of them have come over and like actually asked anybody involved. They're just, okay. I say this with love. So there's a policy manual committee on the LNC right now. And our policy manual is 80 pages long. That's a lot. So, every term, and listen, you know I'm onto something when both Steve Dasbach, who's someone I really respect, but we don't agree a lot lately, but he and I both agree. Like, that should tell you something. That every term, the LNC should go through the policy manual and cut out any bloat. Because institutional bloat happens. 80 pages is far too fucking long for the policy manual. When it gets that long, nobody reads it. And most of the LNC aren't familiar with it. You can't easily find something with it. Let me tell you the first clue that it's too long. When you have to have two table of contents, a detailed table of contents and a condensed table of contents. When you have that, you know your policy manual is too long. So we're going through it going, does everything need to be in here? And we're asking two questions. A, do we even need to have a policy on this? Or B, is this a good policy, but it just doesn't belong in the policy manual, it belongs somewhere else? And in just doing that, we have proposals this Sunday, 2/20 pages from the policy manual, to get it down to 60. So to cut it by, I'm not good with math, over, is that about 30%? It's divided into two proposals. One of the proposals really hasn't caused any controversy. And there's a bunch of employment stuff in the policy manual. It's all important. However, it doesn't belong in the policy manual. It belongs in the employment manual. So that one really hasn't caused much controversy. It's getting cut out of the policy manual and put into the employment manual. Okay. The other stuff is just bloat. What happens with the policy manual, and it's happened on terms I've been on, but it's happened in past terms, is there's a controversy. And at the time the controversy exists, it's very real. And it might have been necessary at that time to pass a policy manual amendment. For instance, there's a whole page we're cutting that's all about what kind of content belongs in LP News. You can read this and you hear the wailing of ghosts of controversies past. Apparently, at some point in the past, before my time, there must have been some kind of power struggle on the LNC about what the purpose of LP News is. That has not been a controversy since I've been on the LNC in 2016. It doesn't need to be in the policy manual. It's not a current issue. Maybe in the future it will become a current issue again. But right now it's not. That page can go. There are other things like that in the policy manual that we are proposing deleting. Let me tell you another thing that a page and a half can go. There are excruciatingly common sense detailed rules on electronic meetings, like mute yourself when you're not talking. Perhaps you should wear a set of earphones. There's a page and a half of this. We don't need that in the policy manual. At the time it was written, electronic meetings weren't common. That stuff wasn't maybe common sense then. Like, there's some really basic things like how to connect to an electronic meeting. It probably served a purpose when it was written. It's not needed now. That's going. I'm trying to think of some other obvious things that are going. I think, yeah, I mean, we could pull it up and go through it. But there's 3 pages right there, gone. And then there's just like paragraphs here and there. Like there's a paragraph in there that says the treasurer will develop fundraising and maintain fundraising relationships. Our treasurer doesn't do that anymore. That might have been a role in the past, but we have a development director now to do that. So that's coming out. There's a lot of stuff like that. Now, there are a few that might be arguable that some people might think we need to keep it. And one of those is something I talked about with Justin. It's a recent addition. We don't expect that the whole motion will pass. There'll probably be a few things that people go, no, we need to keep this. But this is the current recommendation of the Policy Manual Committee. There's nothing sneaky going on. We're just trying to make the policy manual more usable. But let me let you guys know something else. I'm not saying this to talk down. I'm saying this because a lot of people just don't understand the purpose of the policy manual. So, for instance, one of the things that's caused some controversy and might end up staying is there was a prohibition on there about being hired by the LNC within a certain amount of time of being a former LNC member. So, like if you were a past chair, you can't then get hired on by the LNC as a contractor. The reason that was put in there is because, we're going to be honest here, there was a feeling, true, not untrue, whatever, it doesn't matter, that in exchange for Nick not running, that allegedly JBH promised him a job. JBH has denied that. I'm not getting into whether it was true or not, and not saying it was paranoia. That was careless of me before, Justin. I'm not making, but that's why that was put in there. And it's not a current controversy. When things aren't a current controversy, they need to come out. But here's what people need to understand. If the members really want a prohibition against things like that, the policy manual doesn't do it. The policy manual is like the Pirates Code. It's guidelines. And I'm not saying that to be sarcastic. It's not the bylaws. If the members want to have such a prohibition, like with a padlock, they need to put it in the bylaws, because the policy manual is suspendable by the LNC with a 2/3 vote. It's not an insurmountable protection for anything. Of course, it becomes obvious to the members if you move to suspend something. That's one of the purposes, to say, hey, we're putting aside this rule. We should have to explain to you why we're doing this. But it's really not a big deal, and it's not difficult to put aside a policy manual. It's not a written in stone holy grail policy. It's nothing to wail and gnash your teeth about if something gets removed from the policy manual. It just isn't. It's not the bylaws. It's meant to be amended often and formed and suited to fit the needs of the governing body at the time. If you want hard and fast restraints on certain things, when you're a delegate at convention, you need to get it into the bylaws, because the LNC can't suspend the bylaws. I mean, there's a certain exception to that. Something in the nature of a rule of order. We're not getting into that. I'm giving you basic things. So it's not that big of a deal. It's nothing to get all lathered up about. It really isn't. Because here's the fact. Even if that policy manual provision stays in there, and it's not even a special rule of order, it's a standing rule, which is of lesser authority than a special rule of order, it can be suspended if, say, like Nathan said about Molman wanting to come on as a paid CRM admin. Well, if I don't even remember what that provision says, because that's what happens when you have 80 pages, it could be suspended. But that's probably the most controversial thing that we're looking to pull out. But there's no need to invent conspiracy theories. I'm telling you right now why we're doing it: to eliminate bloat. You can think I'm lying, and if you think I'm lying, there's nothing I can say that's going to convince you otherwise. But otherwise, all these weird conspiracy theories that are floating around, I'm just telling you, there's nothing to them. Our motives are really, really basic. We want to shorten the policy manual. Now, there was another speculation, rumor, but misunderstanding that we were eliminating the portion in the policy manual that talks about conflicts of interest. Like the rumors going around that we don't think it's possible to have a No. Conflicts of interest are mentioned multiple times in the policy manual. We are also eliminating redundancies. The part that we are eliminating is not the part that requires disclosure of a conflict of interest. That's not what's getting eliminated. What's getting eliminated is a redundancy, something that's put in the special rules of order about how the disclosed conflicts of interest are, well, we could amend it, JJ. I'm being kind of a little sloppy in my terminology because this isn't really like a Robert's Rules of Order show, but we could easily amend it. It's like not this wall is what I'm trying to say. Because you're correct. Hiring somebody wouldn't have applicability in the meeting, but it could be amended. Some of the other things would have applicability in a meeting. So we're not eliminating the requirement to disclose conflicts of interest. There was a special rule of order that talked about how the disclosed conflicts of interest are reported to the body and the membership by the secretary. And it didn't really belong in the special rules of order. There was already a section about reporting requirements of the secretary in the standing rules. So we deleted it from one section and added it where it belonged in the standing rules. Nothing got deleted. It got tightened up. Redundancy was eliminated. So, hey Pat and Coalition Radio in the house. Okay. So, the first pass, with the exception of the conflict of interest thing, which was a redundancy, is moving things from the policy manual into the employment manual and eliminating the bloat and the ghosts of controversies past. That, if it all passes, will bring the policy manual down to 60 pages. One other thing we're doing is there's a log of changes in the index which lists all the changes to the policy manual since 2014. I don't think changes that were passed in 2014 are particularly relevant for us to have in an index right now. And keeping the log of changes to this term and past term eliminates 7 pages from the policy manual. Like, it's bloated. And all of the historical policy manuals are on LPD if anyone ever wanted to go research what it said in 2014. Okay. So the next pass of the Policy Manual Committee is going to be to look closer at redundancies and make sure everything's mentioned in the same spot. And that will probably get rid of another 4 or 5 pages. We're looking to get this thing down to 50 pages if possible. If not, another thing we deleted or proposing deleting. In the beginning, there's like 2 pages of acronyms. It's not necessary. We narrowed it down to like 4 necessary acronyms. LNC means the Libertarian National Committee. RONR means Robert's Rules of Order. Like HQ means headquarters. Like, we did not need an explanation of every acronym that could ever be used in a libertarian context. Like, so that's going, hopefully. Second pass will be to eliminate redundancies. And something that I've been tasked with is to look at the endnotes. Now, the endnotes are fantastic for a parliamentary education. Alicia Matson wrote them, and she's a big brain. However, the purpose of the policy manual is not a class on Robert's Rules of Order. I enjoy reading those endnotes, but I guarantee you most people don't even read them. However, I do think they're useful. It is useful to know that in the absence of a certain special rule of order, this is what Roberts would provide. But you don't need a paragraph about it. Because again, This isn't a Robert's Rules of Order course. It's our policy manual. So I'm going to go through the endnotes and tighten them up and make it just the facts, ma'am. And that'll probably eliminate a page. So that's what we're doing. There's nothing nefarious going on. There are plenty of things to actually get upset about. This isn't one of them. Okay, what else is on the agenda is, and we did talk about this before, but Stephen Nikela wants to talk about, and this one I actually think is more controversial than the policy manual, though no motions. And I mean, does the policy, yes, the policy manual does talk about national data, and it talks about the requirement to sign an NDA and things like that, and that if data or national services are offered to one affiliate, they need to be offered to everyone on an equal basis under the same terms, fair play type thing. So the policy manual, and we're not touching that. I don't believe we messed with anything that had to do with data. Okay. So the one I think is more controversial, even though there won't be a motion associated with it, at least not this meeting, is Steve Nikela wants to discuss taking a look at affiliate party bylaws, because most of the problems that there's arisen with affiliates and bad actors taking advantage has been because, and this isn't what happened in Virginia, by the way. There are some issues with Virginia's bylaws, but theirs aren't bad. The fact they have a constitution and bylaws, but that's a whole other thing. But like Delaware, Vermont, Massachusetts, New Mexico, Idaho, there's a lot of problems that have caused issues within affiliate parties. Stephen Nikela wants there to be, I don't know if he wants there to be a review. I think he wants us to have a stable of lawyers and parliamentarians that are willing to help out affiliates to, if they want it, tighten up their bylaws. And I agree with you, Justin. I'm really ouchy about this. But I don't mind providing a list of parliamentarians who are willing to work at no or reduced cost. We stay out of it. We just say, hey, here's some resources if this is something you want to do. But I am very leery of the thing, because I know a lot of people think bylaws are ideologically neutral. No, they're not. And I don't want the LNC putting its finger on that scale. I don't mind us developing like a checklist of some kind of things that you should make sure are covered in your bylaws without telling them what it should be. So for instance, I don't mind having a checklist going. Do your bylaws cover electronic meetings? Do you want to have electronic meetings? It needs to be stated. Do you not want it? Like, without pushing them one way or the other. Do you want email voting in your affiliate? Well, this is what you need to do. I don't mind having a checklist like that of common issues without leading them to a certain conclusion of just saying, if you want X, please make sure you do X. If you don't want X, then do Y type thing. I think that kind of checklist is helpful, because let me tell you, one of the problems we've seen with affiliates is we've been very trusting of our boards. And there's plenty of affiliates that say things like, only the chair can call a meeting. Well, what if your chair goes AWOL? You're like kind of like frozen. Like there's things like that where there needs to be fail safes, you know. But this is something that the affiliate needs to decide. And there's a lot of affiliates that let their board amend the bylaws. Yeah, and I agree with JJ. You know, special meetings. I don't mind having a checklist, but I'm really, really leery about national getting involved in affiliate bylaws. Justin asks if I'm going to be the New Hampshire parliamentarian again in January. I haven't been asked. So, as of right now, I'm not. But you know I love coming out to New Hampshire. Okay. What else is on the agenda? Merchandising. That's on there. I asked for a goals update. And lastly, the other thing that's a motion is I've been informed, and I talked about this the other day, that there was a second minority report for the Credentials Committee at the last national convention that no one was aware of. And the LNC needs to make a decision if they want me to amend the minutes, to mention it, to include it, because we do mention the first one, and I think we need to be consistent. I don't really care what we do. The LNC needs to make a decision. I am moving a particular motion just to get the debate started. But I honestly don't care. Oh, Coalition Radio and Pat, is there a link? Can you stick it in chat? Pat and the Affiliate Support Committee have a real heart for helping state affiliates when a disaster strikes in their state. And I used to live in Florida, and so I know hurricanes really well. And from what I understand, this is one of the top 3 hurricanes ever to hit Florida. I was in Florida for Hurricane Andrew, and they said this was pretty comparable to Hurricane Andrew. And if that's the case, that's pretty horrific. God, I could tell you stories of Hurricane Andrew. Now, I didn't live in Dade County. It's now called Miami-Dade, but it was called Dade County then. I didn't live in Dade County. I lived in Palm Beach County, which is 2 counties up. And I worked at a service merchandise at the time. And Palm Beach didn't get hit badly at all. But I remember being on the showroom floor and just seeing, like, you couldn't describe them as anything other than refugees straggling in looking for D-cell batteries. Like, Miami was frickin' devastated. It was, and there was a development there called Country Walk. See, those of you who are from Florida, who are of my vintage, will be going, oh my God, I forgot about all of that. But some of you youngsters, or people really who don't follow hurricanes, don't know anything about this. But it was like a new development in Miami that got flattened by Hurricane Andrew. It looked like a bomb went off. I'm actually going to show you a picture because it's like, it's incredible. If I can find a good picture. That one's too small. Devastation in Country Walk. Hurricane Andrew. Oh, here it is on Wikipedia. Let me see if this is a good picture. So when we saw this on the news, I was like, holy shit. Like, you wouldn't believe this is a hurricane. You would think this is a tornado. Let me stick this up on the screen here a second. And so if Ian was anything like this, the people in Florida are hurting. Okay, that was Country Walk. These were brand new homes. One day standing. Now, doesn't that look like a freaking tornado went through there? No, that was a hurricane. And there's even let me go through here. To me, that picture doesn't even do it justice. go like that one. I mean, you could see in that picture there. It's like there's some houses still standing, but the rest is still flat. And look at this shit. Oh, it's not pulling up the pic. Yeah, that house on its side. And that right there is the Miami Herald. It was insane. Absolutely insane. So for them to be saying that Ian was like Andrew, that is something. So if you go to the National Party's Facebook page, I can't tell you to go to their Twitter page, but go to the Facebook page, and there's a pinned post on how you can help. And from what I understand, it's like what they did with the tornadoes in Kentucky. You can buy relief goods through Walmart, and it gets distributed out to hurricane victims in Florida. But another thing with Andrew, and this is what was crazy, it was even 2 years later, and Homestead, Florida is down towards the tip of Florida, and that's where Metro Zoo is. It's a fantastic zoo. My ex and I were going down to Metro Zoo in Homestead, and the joke about Homestead is it's where you wish you were home instead. But we were going through Homestead, and there were whole neighborhoods still in rubble. 2 years later, and you would go down these roads and there weren't any street signs, and the houses were so devastated. And I'll never forget this. I wish I could find a picture of this, because the impact of it, I think seeing pictures really helps. What people did is they took cans of spray paint. So instead of house numbers, what you had was spray painted on the walls was your insurance claim numbers. So it would say Allstate, whatever the insurance claim number was, so that the adjusters could find the houses. 2 years later, it was still like that. And when I was in Florida, I went through Hurricane Jean and Francis, which occurred like almost exactly within a month of each other, and it hit landfall within 10 miles of each other. I was without power for a month and a half. When you have leather furniture in South Florida in the summer without power, your house smells like a dead cow, and the palmetto bugs are evil. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, they're hurting right now in Florida, so go to the Facebook page, and if you can help. Like, if I weren't working right now, I probably would go to Florida to try to help, because I know what it's like. You know, I've picked up my roof from my front lawn more than enough times. Hurricane Wilma, I was picking up my roof again. Like, I've been through hurricanes. So there's the plug. I probably talked more about it than I probably should have, Pat, but Florida's near and dear to my heart. And again, been through enough hurricanes that I know what they be. Florida's just like a hurricane feeler down there, and the buzzsaw comes to it. Okay. All right. Yeah, so the minutes. We're back to the meeting. What the LNC does with the minutes is going to be their business. I noticed a motion just to get debate started, and I'm moving that the minutes be amended for me to add as an appendix the second minority report after the first minority report, and to make reference to it in the body of the minutes. I don't really care what we decide, but something needs to be decided now that it's been brought to my attention. And that's it for the business that will be public. We will have an executive session on legal updates. Obviously, we have quite a few legal issues going on. Virginia, New Mexico, potentially now Twitter. So that won't obviously be public. So I do encourage you to come. Pat will laugh at this. If you remember the last LNC, which, as I was saying earlier, the show, I was not a fan of. They decided they just didn't need meetings anymore. They canceled all their meetings for 2022 unless it was a special meeting. This LNC went back to its monthly meetings. The agendas aren't huge, but we're taking care of housekeeping things in between our regular meetings. What the hell? What the hell was that? Did you all hear that? Did anyone else hear that, or was that just me? Like something banged into the wall, and it didn't sound like it was outside. Is there a ghost down here? I am superstitious. I don't care. Make fun of me all you want. I not so necessarily say I believe in ghosts, but I do believe there are things going around us that we aren't necessarily always perceptive of. But like something went right on the wall, and it sounded like it was inside, not outside. And we don't have bugs in Colorado. Like if this was Florida, I would just say that was a palmetto bug trying to get through the window at me. But Colorado, we don't have big ass bugs like that. I'm kind of freaked out by that. You all, I need to watch this video again because I think y'all saw me go like, what the hell? Anyway, stay away. It's the ghost of an LNC past getting on me for criticizing them. All right, so I think that's it. Did I miss anything, anyone? I don't know if there's any motions going on. Oh, Rich Bowen. You can give him congratulations because he's obviously going to be elected Convention Oversight Committee chair. We do expect... So, back to New Mexico for 1 second. If they have an organizational convention in October, I've already given notice, conditional upon them actually presenting a petition for affiliation, for us to vote on a petition for affiliation in November. So, we may have a... New Mexico affiliate come the beginning of November. I anticipate that, what was I going to say? Oh, I anticipate we'll be hearing about a special convention for Virginia. Haven't heard any further word on that, but I think that will get straightened out as well. Yeah, so I think that's it. I'm just thinking if anything else interesting came up on the LNC list. I don't think so. Application for the National Bylaws Committee will be going out in October. We'll be voting on that at our November in-person meeting. This weekend, I'm going to develop the application and send it over to Angela to take a look at. And I think that's it. I'm going to give you all a few minutes to ask any questions that you may have. And I know the beginning of the show is a bit heavy and a bit harsh, but really this internal just like nastiness and wishing ill on the party because you don't like a certain group of people, honestly, no third party can afford that. Those type of people would be happier elsewhere. That's not something I say lightly, but I've come to that conclusion through hard fought just battles, I guess. Yes, Justin, you can. I would love to read your manuscript and write a blurb, as long as it doesn't suck. Don't make it suck. My LNC email is secretary@lp.org. Oh, Angela hasn't done that, has she, Nathan? Hold on. While I have you guys on the phone, I'm gonna send an email to the list. Hold on. So watch the... Oh, did it lose my password? Uh-oh. Did my secretary email get hacked? I do have two-factor authentication on it, by the way, and I have a good password. No, it didn't. It's just my computer makes me re-enter it every once in a while. So I'm sending an email to the LNC list. IS committee ? Okay. Madam Chair, has a decision been made yet that can be announced about the composition of the IS committee? Question mark. Okay. I misspelled composition. There we go. All right. Hopefully we'll have an answer on that, Nathan. I completely forgot about that myself. Thank you for the reminder. We're also going to be reconstituting the ballot access committee probably in December. Excuse me, because their term ends in November. One reason why I'm so eager to have a New Mexico affiliate at the November meeting is I want that ballot access committee to immediately start on New Mexico. And, so we have no issues there. Okay, giving it one more minute, sip my mimosa, and then I'm probably going to head off to bed. I am like super, super tired. That is good. And I've got door knocking to do all weekend. Well, Justin, when it comes up, apply. You know I'll vote for you. So, yeah, I got to talk to Angela about when we're going to... I got to look at first when the committee expiration ends, and then we'll look at what date the applications are going to be. Yeah, so tomorrow... I'm doing a lit drop, probably knocking some doors, but it's mostly just going to be a lit drop. And no cult of R this weekend, JJ. We're not doing any of the cult until mail-out ballots go out in Colorado. I am campaigning every weekend until ballots go out. So, yeah, and that's mid-October. And I'll still be doing some more campaigning, but probably more mail-outs and things like that for the people who still haven't sent in their mail-in ballots. But you really got to do the street work prior to the mail-in ballots going out. Okay, guys, that's going to be it for this evening, I think. I just saw... Yeah, JJ was just saying, understand. All right, guys. I hope you have an awesome night. I want to get out of these work clothes and probably go to bed. Maybe not, though. My ass will probably be working on Lpedia. I've been obsessed with it lately. Hope you have an awesome night, and bye-bye. And you'll see, Roman, if you're watching, your name's on my screen now. Bye-bye.
Given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because